Hello and welcome to the Ultimate French Wine Experience. My name is Vanessa Keran. I am the sommelier and wine educator at Gérard Bertrand. Gérard and I are absolutely delighted to welcome you here to Château L'Hospitalet during our 2020 harvest.
Yeah, you know, I am very happy to be with you tonight, and I present to you our cellar master, Mr. Ghislain Cooks, who worked here in this estate for more than 25 years, and Charmian Moulin, who joined us 3 years ago. And of course, we are in a cellar because we just finished the white, and the work is in progress for the red. We are in the middle of the reds. We pick the grape every day, and I just want to present to you a grape of Carignan coming from Château L'Hospitalet. Do you want to try? It tastes very good, the pips are perfect. And you know, look at the beauty of the grapes. Just want also to share with you some information of 2020. You know, we will have a great vintage for the white and also for the rosé in the south of France. We have a perfect balance between the acidity, the freshness, and the minerality. And for the red, we cannot read in the crystal ball, but you know, half have been done, and for the Syrah and the Grenache, it's very well done, and we have a good balance also between acidity and maturity. And for the Mourvèdre and the Carignan, we have to let the grapes from now to the mid of October in order to gain phenolic maturity. And of course, maybe we can try some 2020 to share with you the new vintage. This is a Syrah from L'Hospitalet, already in the vats for 2 weeks. Cheers. And as you know, when we try a new vintage for the first time, we have to make a wish. And my wish tonight is for celebrating a better world soon. And I don't want to wait any more time in order to travel and to visit you in the US market, because this is my second home and I miss you guys. Cheers.
Cheers.
Good job, guys. Tastes good.
And now we have some beautiful shots of our 2020 harvest to share with you. Hello again. So now we are in our tasting room, where we are lucky to always welcome all of our wine lovers from across the world to come and taste our wines. Today, we are lucky to share with all 250 of you in the United States the tasting that we have selected for you today. But before we get started, I just want to ask Gérard, why did you want to launch this Ultimate French Wine Experience?
Yeah, thank you, Vanessa. It's a great pleasure and an honor also for me to make this masterclass tonight. And of course, you know, we like to share our value, we like to share our passion for the south of France. I just want also to explain to you my 30 years of wine growing and winemaking in this place. We are going also to talk about our biodynamic approach, and of course, also about our expertise of blending. You know, it was a long journey since I started, you know, in this industry. And of course, now here at Château L'Hospitalet, we are going to taste 10 wines tonight in order to celebrate this ultimate French wine experience. So what does it mean? You know, we want to explain to the consumers and also the wine lovers, American wine lovers, what is the taste from the south of France? Because in the south of France, and especially in our company, you know, first of all, we have different grape varieties. We have more than 70 grape varieties in the south of France, and we move from the Spanish border to Provence. It's the largest wine area in terms of wine production in the world, and we are fortunate because above the different varieties, we have also different climate, different terroir, and tonight we will visit the different places and the different estates, and of course we will have also different vintages because it was important for me to present to you 2019, 2018, 2017, and 2016. And about the history of the company, I just want also to say some words because I start with my father 33 years ago, in 87. That means officially I am doing my 34 vintage. But I start when I was 10 with him, and he said to me and to my sister, Guylaine, you know, now you are tall enough, you have to make harvest and to spend time in a cellar. And at the end of the first harvest I have done in 1975, he said to me, you know, Gerard, you are lucky because when you will be 50, you will have 40 years of experience. And it was a long journey, but he coached me, he taught me, and he explained to me his passion for this region. And you know, in the south of France, we have two parties. We have the Roussillon side, close to the Spanish border, where we produce red wine mainly, but also fortified wine. And we have a legendary collection from 1875 to 1977. That means we have a boutique collection of more than 1 century. And then, of course, in the Languedoc side, we have a wonderful biodiversity and a wonderful also diversity of varietals. And between the different appellations, Corbière, Corbière Minervois, Minervois La Livinière, La Clappe, Terrasse du Larzac, we will be delighted with Vanessa also to present to you the perfect food and wine pairing. Vanessa, maybe it should be interesting for you to explain and to introduce the biodynamic approach.
Thank you, Gerard. Absolutely. So when we talk about biodynamics, these are, of course, the teachings of Rudolf Steiner. So we read his teachings that he had written some memoirs from 1924, and really it's a holistic approach to the vineyard. So it's looking at the vineyard as a whole, and it's homeopathy from herbs to the vine. So it's a very homeopathic approach. Gerard?
You have the video. Yes?
We have a video. We can start with the video, absolutely.
Biodynamic principle changed my life. That changed my life because we don't use anymore any chemical product, number one. Number two, because the quality of the wine are better than in the past. And number three, because we like to share this message of new paradigm for taking care about the biodiversity in the water for customers. Biodynamic farming is a philosophy about organizing life, looking for balance and harmony between human being and nature. Biodynamic is also a natural and ethical approach to farming rooted in the teaching of Dr. Rudolf Steiner in 1920s. Steiner considered each vine as an individual. The role of the wine grower is to maintain the biodiversity and give each vine the force and the energy it needs so it can deliver the best of itself and grow in the good health without the use of any chemical products at all.
We work with the astral calendar of Maria Thun that determines the energy of each day of the year beyond the influence of moon, stars, and the cosmos. We prepare natural treatments by ourselves. For example, herbal infusions of stinging nettle, dandelion, yarrow. We dynamize and spray the preparations on the vineyard in very small quantities. The vine responds with healthier leaves, deeper roots, and grapes closer to the terroir authenticity.
With biodynamic farming, we reinforce the balance, the minerality, the aromatic complexity, the freshness, the harmony, and the energy of the wines. The wine could be a multidimensional experience, but also a sensorial or spiritual experience. I hope you enjoy the video explaining the biodynamic approach. You know, my father gave me a lot of detail and coached me, as I said already, but the most important thing he said to me, he said, the wine, it's 1001 detail. And if you miss one, you have a small problem. But if you miss two, you have a big problem. And of course, we are looking here for excellence. That means we have 110 persons all year long working in the biodynamic program. And during the harvest, we pick up all the grapes by hand. And we have 250 people who work in a vineyard. And this is interesting because, you know, I start myself using homeopathic pills when I was 22. And I saw that changed my life. And when I read the book of Rudolf Steiner in 2002, it was a second revelation because biodynamic farming is the homeopathic holistic medicine for the plant. You know, and we start with my team only with 4 acres, and we wait for 2 years, and we have seen the changes in the vineyard, but also into the cellar. And then we move from 4 acres to 40, and then from 40 to 100, and now we have close to 2,000 acres converted to the biodynamic agriculture. That's why we can say that we are the leader in the world for biodynamic farming. And we experiment that in the beginning. Now we have a great knowledge. And of course, year after year, we become better and better. And of course, also, we create a new paradigm for the south of France wine, and especially for the white, because we are here in a region with a Mediterranean climate, but because we stop to use any chemical product and so on, we reinforce the acidity, and we reinforce also, and you know, the minerality, and the wine is more alive, which is important and key for the potential of aging. Now, before we start the first product, I just want also to say some word for all of you, because you work in the press, in the TV, you are sommelier, and you are retailer, and you work in a restaurant, and also to say some word to my team who work hard to promote this program. And we have also different tools. We have this jacket, and we can help you in order to promote the ultimate French wine experience everywhere in the United States. And of course, this is also important because we have a long tradition between USA and France since Marquis de Lafayette, and also we remember what you have done for us in the Second War. That's why, you know, the connection is natural between French people and American people, and we are very proud to be the first French brand in the USA, and now to promote the diversity of our terroir across this beautiful country. Let's start with the first wine, Clos du Temple. At Clos du Temple, I like to wander through the vines early in the morning to experience the awakening of nature and the intense light of the new day.
Here, the old vines bring out the character of this amazing place. 8 hectares, 7 parcels. This is a unique terroir. It is a contact zone between schists and limestone, set below the curving lines of the surrounding countryside. This wine has been designed to mirror a temple. The foundations, Grenache. The columns, Cinsault. The walls, Syrah. The architecture, Mourvèdre. The roof, Viognier. It is aged in barrels to reinforce its structure and develop its depth and complexity. The bottle represents the temple, with geometric lines based on the golden ratio. The royal blue pays homage to King Louis XIV, a great admirer of Cabrières wines.
Clos du Temple deliver a message. Terroir, time, transcendence. When I visit the place for the first time 4 years ago, I immediately fall in love with this unique terroir, and I received this message. You know, you have a fantastic quality of terroir between schist and limestone, and also very old vines of Cinsault and Grenache. And then we have Syrah, Mourvèdre, and a touch of Viognier. And the idea came to me immediately to create and produce the most iconic rosé in the world. Why? Because we have low yield, we have old vines, we have 5 grape varieties, and we have the connection and the contact zone between limestone and schist. And the first harvest in 2018, I have taken the decision with my team to use, as you know, the Grenache for the foundation. And then we create the wall, we create the column and so on. And of course, then we create this bottle. This is not a marketing concept. We create the bottle with a golden ratio because it was important also to have the best containment. Like we have chosen this beautiful glass to reveal the soul of the place. And 2019, you know, it's very amusing vintage. Let me say some word about 2019 vintage. You know, we had rain during the winter. Of course, we have irregular temperature during the spring. we had hot summer, and then perfect weather condition for the harvest time. And the most important decision for me was to pick up the grapes at the perfect timing. That means you don't have to pick up the grape at the same time for making red or rosé. For rosé, you have to keep the freshness, the acidity, and this is another word. And then, now we are ready to share with you, Vanessa, the first wine. This is, you can see this is a very light and pale color. You know, the nose, it's complex with apricot, peach. We have also a touch of rose flowers. You can feel the freshness, the acidity, the minerality, and the only thing you cannot control when you drink a wine, you salivate. You can feel a lot of saliva coming in your mouth, and this is great. This is great because even if it is wine with a strong potential of aging, and even if it is a rosé, you, after the first glass, you just need another one. And this is key also because the winemaker has done his job when the bottle is empty at the end of the lunch or the dinner. What do you recommend, Vanessa, for food and wine pairing for this wine?
Absolutely, Gerard. I feel like this wine is so versatile in terms of food and wine pairing. Obviously, I would pair this with lobster. In the US, obviously, lobster roll would be incredible with this, with a brioche bun that would really bring out those oak characteristics. Even some freshwater shrimp would be absolutely beautiful with this.
Yeah, and I like to say that this wine is multidimensional. You have the verticality, you have the full mouth, and then you have the depth. I mean, it's like a white or a red. You have the Caudalie, and you can have the wine into your throat for 10 to 15 seconds.
Absolutely.
That's why, you know, this is really a rosé for gastronomy. You taste twice, yes?
I don't want to spit it out.
You like it or you love it?
I love it, Gerard.
Yeah, thank you. What do we do now?
I think Gerard forgot to mention that this rosé was also voted the best rosé in the world by the Drinks Business magazine
yeah.
for the 2019 vintage, which is an amazing accomplishment.
Yeah, thank you. And what do we do now?
So now we're going to move on to Château l'Hospitalet. So now we are going to transport ourselves away from Cabrières and back into La Clappe, where we are actually situated today at Château l'Hospitalet. So this is an absolutely beautiful area. I hope that those who haven't been here yet will have a chance to come and visit us here soon because it's the most incredible area. We are on the Mediterranean Sea on these huge limestone cliffs surrounded by garrigue, which is this natural aromatic herbal protected park.
May I say some water?
Yes, absolutely.
No, you know, I like to taste the wine with Vanessa because she's Canadian, but she loves really the south of France experience and to talk about the different estate. Now, I just want to say, Vanessa, that this estate changed my life because I bought this place in 2002, and it was amusing because even in my dream, I didn't think about this possibility. And when the previous owner, Mr. Ribourel, called me in 2011, you know, he proposed to me to buy this beautiful place, and I had to convince my bank to follow me. And of course, I didn't sleep for 6 months, but at the end of the day now, because we have an estate, but we have also a gastronomic restaurant, we have a 4-star hotel, and we have craft shops, this is like a small village, and we host 200,000 people per year. We do also a jazz festival in the summer. We have a harvest festival. We do also a truffle and pruning festival the first week of December. And this is really amusing to every single day come here for doing my job and trying to do the best and promoting the value and the excellence of the south of France. But more importantly, Vanessa, about the terroir, because the terroir is made with limestone. And that's really the first reason why I have taken the decision 18 years ago to buy this place. And the terroir is unique, and La Clappe was an island. At the 3rd century, Narbonne was the second largest port of the Mediterranean. And that means we have an ecosystem. We have also a wonderful biodiversity with some unique flowers like orchids. And this is really the sense of place that we want to share with you tonight.
Absolutely. And the wines from Château L'Hospitalet are, for me, really the wines that showcase the sense of place. And as Gérard mentioned, it's also where we share our art de vivre. So it's really an incredible place, and I hope that all of you can come and join us here at some point.
Yeah, and concerning the 2018 vintage, yes, just want to say some word about the 2018 vintage. We had enough rain during the winter, and then we had water and sun, you know, at the very best moment. And the weather conditions during the harvest time were perfect. That means we can say that 2018 for both white and red was an exceptional vintage.
Absolutely, absolutely. The grape varieties in here are Grenache Blanc, Bourboulenc, Vermentino, and Viognier. And Bourboulenc, for those who don't know, it's an indigenous variety to this area in the south of France. It's a variety that does very well with late ripening and is very happy in a very hot and dry climate. So we really give respect to this grape here at Château L'Hospitalet.
Yeah, and we can also add that for the Bourboulenc, this is a very long vegetative cycle. That means the Bourboulenc is still in the vineyard now, and we pick up the grapes mid of October.
Yeah. It's one of the last harvesting white grapes.
Yes.
Yeah.
What do you think about the nose?
I think the nose is absolutely incredible. We really get the minerality that's due to this limestone soil, and also a little bit of salinity on the nose. I smell salt.
Yeah, I smell also verbena.
Yes.
You know, and the peach, and some toasted nuts, some almonds. Yeah, and as I said also for the rosé, but you have a lot of salad coming in your mouth, and you have a long finish.
Absolutely.
It's crispy, yes?
Yeah. It's crispy, it's long, it makes me salivate, and it makes me want to eat food.
Yeah, and what do you recommend for Final One pairing?
So I had this the other day with the Mediterranean sea bass, the loup de mer in croûte de sel, which is in a salt crust.
Yeah, and myself, I would love to have just now 3 oysters for my friend Tarborièche, because they are the best oysters in Europe. And if you get the chance to come in the south of France, I do recommend to you to taste it.
Wonderful. So now we are moving on to Château de Villemajou.
We are back home. This is exactly where I start my journey, as I said, with my father. And my father, you know, revealed the red wine from Villemajou. And myself, I plant the whites. because I start to plant whites in 1990. And of course, I have planted Marsanne, Roussanne, Grenache, and also some Bourboulenc in Corbière. And of course, we have a long tradition of white in Corbière, but for Villemajou, only for 30 years. And we have a very distinctive taste compared to Château L'Hospitalet. And you see the color is a little bit more, it's between green and yellow. What do you think about the nose, Vanessa?
I think there's some beautiful tropical fruit coming on the nose. I get a little bit of pineapple, some mango.
I like also the smoky smell, smoky toast. This wine is medium body, and it's interesting because you have a potential of aging, Vanessa, between 7 to 15 years. And this is really a wine I do recommend with shellfish.
Absolutely.
I love shellfish. And when I go in East Coast, you know, I like to have shellfish and seafood. And this is really a great wine for that.
This wine just has, to me, so much structure and so much complexity. It's elegant, but just has this just gorgeous mouthfeel, lends itself beautifully to, as you said, seafood. I would say some scallops, maybe with a passion fruit coulis, just to bring out those tropical flavors. Absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, I agree.
So next we have the Cigallus white.
Cigallus. This is a beautiful estate, and this is, of course, where I live with my family. And my son and my daughters, they say, no, Dad, this is not where you live. This is where you are supposed to live. But with COVID-19, you know, I didn't travel for 6 months. But this is really where I live every single day. And of course, Cigallus means cicades, because we have a lot of cicades, especially during the summertime. And that's why when we bought the place with my wife in 1995, we have taken the decision to change the name and to say, okay, let's pay a tribute for the south of France lifestyle. And for white and red, Vanessa, we have a very distinctive blend. For the white, this is a blend of Chardonnay, Sauvignon, and Viognier. The Chardonnay gives the structure, the vertebral column. The Sauvignon provides the acidity and the freshness, and the Viognier develops the aromas. And you see the color, you know, it's more gold than the last one. We have at the nose, we have some pears, some apricot, some also grapefruit, but also a touch of almond and vanilla.
It's such an unusual blend, but the varieties play so well together.
Yeah, exactly. And this is a full body white. You know, this is a wine you can drink without any food, just as an aperitif or for happy hours with friends. But also, this is a white we do recommend, you and me, for scallop.
Yes.
Yes?
We've agreed to this one.
Yeah, but also, you know, I like sometimes to make food and wine pairing with a chicken, with sauce. You know, because the creamy sauce with chicken matched perfectly with the Sigalus white.
And even recently we had a dinner where we paired it with a ravioli made with boleto mushrooms, which is the cèpe in France, and it was a gorgeous pairing with one of the older vintages of Sigalus.
Yes, that's true.
So moving on, we're going to taste the Sigalus Red.
I have a funny story for you. Because I bought the place in 1995, but the previous owner, he was a lawyer and he lived in Paris. And he just came here in this place because he liked to make hunting parties. And he was very close to the president of the Corbière area. I mean, at the beginning, he had local grapes. But for hunting reasons, you know, they fight each other and they didn't talk anymore. And he has taken the decision to plant international grapes like Cabernet Franc, Cabernet Sauvignon, Merlot, and also Caladoc, which is a métis between Grenache and Malbec. And of course, when I bought the place, I have done the same, and I plant Chardonnay, Viognier, and Sauvignon Blanc. And the spirit of this wine is to challenge and to compete with all the international wineries. And we were fortunate because in 2005, we have been elected as the best white and the second best red in the world for airlines company for business and first class. And of course, I agree with these people because this wine is really distinctive. When you try the white, you have very few blend of Chardonnay, Viognier, and Sauvignon in the world. And for the blend, you know, you have all the grape variety are between 10 to 20% maximum. We have first Cabernet Franc, Cabernet Sauvignon, Merlot, Syrah, Grenache, Carignan, and a touch of Caladoc. You see the color is ruby and purple. The nose is really amusing. You have red fruit, black fruit, and you have black currant, blackberries. This is also spicy. And you know, I have a secret for you. I have a biodynamic keep secret. If the wine is not open enough, if you can look at my glass, please. Thank you. You turn 7 times from left to right, and then 7 times from right to left. And what do you do when you create that? You create a biodynamic concept, because with the vortex has been created, you know, you open the wine. What do you think, Vanessa? The wine is more open, yes?
Absolutely. And it's funny because I call this wine a super south of France wine because it's just so approachable with this blend of international and southern French varieties. It's easy to appreciate, and I can understand why it was voted one of the best wines on airlines. It's very approachable.
Yeah. And when you smell it, you know, I smell tobacco, cedar, black fruit, and also some floral notes. You know, smelling this wine is already an experience, but when you start to drink it, it's amazing.
So, Gérard, you're going to invite me over to your house for some barbecue?
Yeah, but you know, with my Texan friends, you know, when I go there for a barbecue, they put some very special spicy nuts, you know, and it matches perfectly with the beef, but also with sausages.
Beautiful.
Yes, this is really a wine for barbecue, but also for me, for steak au poivre. That means steak with pepper. Cheers.
So our next wine, we're going to come back to Château d'Hospitalet, where we are located today. And welcome back to Château d'Hospitalet. So we are going to taste our Château d'Hospitalet Grand Vin Rouge. This is our 2018 vintage. Our 2017 vintage was voted the best wine in the world by the IWC, which was a huge honor. Gérard, congratulations.
What is IWC?
The International Wine Challenge.
Thank you.
And this year, the 2018, got a gold medal, so a huge accolade.
And 95 points.
And 95 points, absolutely. So here again, we're on this amazing terroir, surrounded by garrigue, on limestone hills, next to the Mediterranean Sea. And for me, this wine is such a sense of place. When I smell this wine...
Which vintage it is?
It's the 2018.
And the grape varieties?
So here we are in Syrah, Grenache, and Mourvèdre. And when I smell this wine, no matter where I am in the world, I feel like I'm home back at Château d'Hospitalet. It's such a vin de terroir, a sense of place.
Yeah, and the color is very deep. This is still a baby. But you know, as the tannin has been mature, the wine is already ready for drinking. I mean, you can enjoy the wine now. You don't need to wait 20 years. You can, but I do recommend to buy a case and to drink a bottle every single month.
Absolutely. The tannins are so ripe. They're obviously present enough that this wine is going to be a wine that you can put down and lay away for 10, 15, 20 years. But because of the ripeness and how easy it is to appreciate right now, we really recommend drinking it right now and enjoying it.
You know, if you try side by side the Cigallus and Hospitalet, you can understand the sense of place, and also you can understand the south of France experience, because the wine are very open already, and you know, the nose are very pure. You can also feel something above the fruit, because you feel the garrigue, and sometimes you feel also the saltiness, and this is really amusing, because Vanessa, for this wine, you know what I do recommend for this wine? I do recommend lamb. Lamb, it's really the perfect food I want pairing with this wine. And when I cook the lamb myself, I add some potatoes, and I put above the potatoes some rosemary and thyme in order to connect with the wine.
You're making me hungry, Gérard.
Already?
Is it dinner time yet?
Maybe a lunch for you.
No, it's absolutely gorgeous. So now we're going to La Sauvageonne. So we're going to head into the Terrasse du Larzac.
We are now in the Terrasse du Larzac. Terrasse du Larzac is close by the city called Montpellier, and we are in mountain. We are more or less at 800 feet. The terroir is made with volcanic soil and schist, and the schist are very particular because the schist, the stones are empty inside. That means you can play music with 2 stones, and we call that phonolytic schist. If you get the chance to visit us, you will enjoy to play music in the vineyard. And of course, we have a villa surrounding the place. And of course, this is a nod for the biodiversity, because this is so amusing place. And we have for the red 3 main grape variety. 4, sorry. Number 1 is Grenache. Number 2 is Syrah. Number 3 is Mourvèdre. Number 4 is Carignan. I just want to tell you that when I start the first vintage in 2011, the driver was the Syrah and then the others. I was happy with the quality, but I was not excited. And in 2014, I have taken the decision to change the leadership and to move for Grenache. And now, for all the vintages, we are between 50 to 60% of Grenache. And then we have the Syrah, because the Grenache is a foundation, and the Grenache is so special between volcanic and schist. And then the Syrah provides the aromas and the structure, and then we play with the Mourvèdre and the Carignan for developing the complexity. Let me say some word about the 2017 vintage. You know, we have a lot of rain during the winter time. And during the spring, we had a problem because we had some frost the 26th of April, and we lost 20% of the grapes. That's why, you know, we have also a very strong concentration, and we had a great summer. It was not too hot, but it was dry. And then we had a harvest with perfect weather condition. That's why, you know, I do recommend to drink now 17, because it still have a long potential, but if you want to enjoy a very distinctive terroir from the south of France, ready for drinking, let's try Château La Sauvageonne 17. You know, you see the color? The color is like violet, you know? What do you think about the nose, Vanessa?
It's absolutely gorgeous, very floral, a lot of a play between the red and black fruit, some, again, a little bit of a play between the black and white pepper notes. You really see a little bit of the juxtaposition between the two terroirs, the schist and the volcanic soils really playing together in this wine.
You know, I like to say that also this wine is juicy in the mouth. Yeah? It's juicy, and you can feel in the middle of your tongue, you know, the volcanic taste. Because it's like when you suck a stone of volcan, you know, you feel this acidity, and more importantly, the minerality, you know. And this is the minerality which provides the verticality into the wine.
Absolutely. And this place is such a wild place for me. It's a place where there's mushrooms. We harvest mushrooms there. There's olive trees. There's wild boar running around. It's such a sauvage place, sauvageonne. So for me, food and wine pairing wise, I would go with game meat, something very wild, like wild deer or wild boar. I think would be beautiful with some fruit coulis.
Yeah, and I have also another funny story because my friend Meldick, Mr. Meldick, based in Miami, in Florida, first time I present to him this wine, he said, "Gerard, what does it mean, La Sauvageonne?" I answer, "Sauvageonne is wild woman." I say, "I love that. I love this concept." Yeah, and of course, you can imagine Vanessa like a wild woman in the middle of the forest. Okay, you know, it's wonderful, and we do a lot of party on the pool of La Sauvageonne, and of course, it's great during the summer with some beef, yes, but I do recommend this wine with a special beef close by La Sauvageonne called beef from l'Aubrac. And the chef here like to cook the beef, but first of all to mature it for 28 days, like the cycle of the moon, and then to cook it. And if you want to have a great experience, ask for Aubrac beef. But if you are in the USA, I think with Wagyu, or a T-bone, you know, at Porterhouse in New York, it will be delicious. Cheers.
So now moving on to where everything began at Chateau Villemajou.
Let's be back home. You know, Villemajou, this is a sense of place. This is where, as I said already, I start with my father and my mother and my sister in 75, and then my first vintage in 87. And my father fell in love with this place, and he bought the estate in 1967. The terroir from the Corbière, now the name is not Corbière anymore, but is Corbière-Boutenac. This is a cru from Corbière. And it is very distinctive, Vanessa, for different reasons. First of all, the blend is unique, made with 80 to 120 years old Carignan, and then Grenache, Syrah, and Mourvèdre. And you see the color is very deep. This is a 2016. I just want to say some word about 2016. 2016 was a mild winter, and we had an early vegetative cycle. And of course, it was wet and cold during the spring, and we had a wonderful weather, a little bit hot and dry, but not too much during the summer. And then we had great weather conditions for the harvest. That means it is really a wine I do recommend for drinking now. For me, this wine is yin and yang. It's male and female in the same time. And this is really a great experience. You know, the wine is spicy. Okay, we have a black fruit, but we have also wild character, like you, Vanessa. The wine is full body. We have a great structure, but also texture. And we have a long finish, 15 to 20 seconds of Caudalie. And if I do recommend a food and wine pairing with this wine, I will say, Vanessa, if I am in the south of France, I will have a cassoulet. Because cassoulet, it's traditional dishes made with beans, French beans, and we had some pork, some sausages, some, different things. And it cooked for 6-7 hours. And Carcassonne is the best city in the world for cassoulet. But if I am in the USA, I will ask for a duck. I will ask for a duck because you are great cookers for duck, and I like to eat duck when I come in the USA. And also, I ask for gibier,
Wild game meat.
Yes, wild, what do you say?
Game meat. Wild game meat.
Yes. And you?
I absolutely love this wine and feel like it just has so much to offer. I would even go into Asian food, like a Chinese. When you talk about duck, I want Peking duck, that Chinese 5-spice, all of those different flavors going on would pair perfectly with the complexity of this wine.
I understand now when you go in New York, when you go in Chinatown, yeah? Okay, thank you.
So now we will continue with the single vineyard from Château de Villemajou, La Forge.
But keep your glass, because we are going to make side by side to try Villemajou and Laforge. We are back. This is the same vintage, 2016. Why did I recommend to you to keep the two glasses? Because Laforge come from Villemajou estate. And this is a single vineyard. And my father, he was a favorite single vineyard of my father. That's why, to pay a tribute to him, in 1998, I have taken the decision to create this wine and to launch it. Laforge, it's a blend of more than 50% of a very, very old Carignan, more than 125 years, and a very old Syrah. That means compared to Villemajou, where we have 4 grape variety, for Laforge we have only 2. You can see on the label the cross. You can, and this is the cross which celebrates the spirit of the south of France. This cross has been created by the Visigoths. The Visigoths were barbarians. They came from the north of Europe. They arrived in 513 in Narbonne, and in the spring. And Narbonne was the largest fortified city in the world, no, in France, sorry. And they wait for 6 months because the people from Narbonne, they lock the door of the city. And the barbarians were smart because they wait until the harvest. And when the Narbonnese people get out the city to pick up the grapes, they came in and they just stay for 150 years. And they create the cross and they gave us as a legacy for Narbonne and then for the south of France. And of course, let's try side by side. I come back to Villemajou, I smell it, and then I move to Laforge. You see that the link is very strong between these two wines because the old Carignan provide a very, very distinctive character to the wine. Laforge, this is a treat. It's really amusing. It's just more intense than Chateau Villemajou, but Chateau Villemajou is great. You can having this wine once a month, and for Laforge it's once a year because we just produce 1,000 cases of Laforge and we produce 10,000 cases of Chateau Villemajou. But, both of them blew me away. And for me, this is really the reason why I am with you today, because this terroir convinced me that it was important for me to deserve this terroir and also to spend my life to promote the south of France wine experience. And today, it's really an ultimate experience because we play between the different vintages and different terroirs. Absolutely. And we get the chance and the opportunity with you to share our passion from this region.
And what a chance we have to not only taste all the diversity that we have in the terroirs of the south of France, but even taste single parcels from these terroirs. What a treat. Thank you, Gérard.
What do we do now?
Now we're going with our Clos d'Orat.
En me promenant ici, en 1997, je suis tombé sous le charme de la magie et de la beauté de ce lieu, et j'ai tout de suite eu l'inspiration de créer un vin unique. La force de la nature ramène à l'humilité dans la trilogie de la vigne, de l'olivier et du chêne. Au vieux Carignan et Grenache, il suffisait d'ajouter de la Syrah et du Mourvèdre afin de réaliser un assemblage typiquement du sud de la France. Il fallait donc donner une âme à ce lieu et nous avons pris la décision de rénover cette ancienne bergerie et de l'appeler Clos d'Ora, qui symbolise le lien entre l'alpha et l'oméga, l'infiniment grand et l'infiniment petit, le microcosme et le macrocosme. Notre engagement pour la biodiversité et le respect des générations futures nous a permis d'aller plus loin que la culture en biodynamie en rajoutant l'intervention du cheval et du mulet et donc en évitant toute traction mécanique, ce qui favorise avec ce sol d'une grande souplesse la connexion entre les forces telluriques et les forces cosmiques. Le vin est un breuvage multidimensionnel. Il peut parfois être porteur d'un message. Celui du Clos d'Ora est paix, amour, harmonie. The last but not the least. First time I came here in 1997, you know, I immediately felt connected with a very specific terroir. Very often people say, Gérard Bertrand take quick decision, but for this estate, I wait for 17 years. My first decision was to replant the Garrigue areas because I had already a very old Carignan and a very old Syrah. And then in 2000 we plant Grenache and Mourvèdre. And we wait for 12 years and we rebuilt the cheap house because we had an old cheap house which was destroyed during the Second War. And when we finish, we have taken the decision to make a very distinctive cellar. And above the cellar, we have created a room dedicated for meditation and contemplation. I like to invite people in this place, and we do some lunch or dinner only for 12 people. And I want to share with them the nature and the beauty of the nature, because remember that the nature is stronger than us. And also, you know, I want to say some more now before we try the wine with all my friends who live in California, because this is an ecological disaster. And my friends who lost some vineyards, you know, I just want to say that never give up, come back to the vines and rebuild, because this is your path, and this is also the destiny of the place. And of course, we had this problem in the different scale 20 years ago in the south of France, and we have taken the decision to replant trees, and now the trees are adult, you know, and it's never finished, but stay safe and take care of you and the family, and, you know, don't be desperate, and try to keep the vision for the future. To come back to the Clos d'Ora, 2017, as I said already, was a great vintage. We have a blend of 4 grape varieties. The driver is Syrah, between 50 to 65% depending the vintage. And then we have Grenache, and then we have some Mourvèdre and a touch of Carignan. And this is always small yields. We age the wine 12 months in French oak. We always keep 10% in concrete vats because I just want to keep the taste of the terroir and also to add some fruit taste into the final blend.
This is, it's an absolutely incredible terroir. We're just on the hills above the village of La Livinière in the Minervois, and we're actually on a fault line, Gérard. So we have two completely distinct terroirs right next to each other.
Yeah, this is a contact zone between limestone and clay. And we are above a geologic fault, which is amusing because when we use biodynamic principle, and this is what we do everywhere, and especially there, but we also use here only the strength of mule and horses. I mean, we don't use any tractor anymore. Our carbon footprint is spectacular. And also, we connect mineral, vegetal cycle with animal and human, which is important, especially when we use biodynamic principle. But to come back to this bottle, because you are home, or you are in a restaurant, or you are in different places, and you have opened the bottle, that means you are fortunate also because tonight you will have the ability to invite maybe 20 to 30 friends because you have 10 bottles to share. And I do recommend to keep the wine into the bottle. You don't need to put the wine into the carafe because it's already open. You know the smell, the nose is very complex. We have smoky aromas. We have some menthol notes, some cherries like kirsch. We had also a touch of wild character coming from the garrigue surrounding the place.
For me, I always find a lot of umami character. There's a savory character coming from this wine. That's just absolutely incredible.
I agree, and you feel the long finish, very long finish, and you salivate also a lot with this wine. And what do you recommend, Vanessa, for the Clos d'Aura?
Well, I would recommend obviously some beef. So in the US, you know, some beautiful US beef, but I would add a little touch of the south of France with a little shaved black truffle.
That's a good treat. You know, I hope you enjoy the tasting with us tonight. I just want to say again that I'm very proud about my team who are based in the USA, and they work hard for making the promotion of the ultimate South of France experience. And I know that you will be able to share with them and with your consumers and wine lovers what do you do, and I hope that this masterclass will help you to share more detail with all the wine lovers across the country. I wish you, and we wish you, a wonderful end of the week, and I want to tell you that
before we end, Gérard, we have a few questions, if you don't mind.
Sorry.
So, one question from Jonathan Rousseau. How important is it to your customers in the USA to be biodynamic? And do you think your customers even know what that means?
You know, this is making biodynamic wines. First of all, it's a way of life. That means the consumer perspective came after that because, of course, as we use the Demeter certification, the experts and the trade and also the wine lovers know now what it is. And I just want also to thank again the sommelier in the world and especially in the USA because you were and you are game changer. Because of you, now the biodynamic wines are in the best places in the world and in the USA. And also because you can teach people and you can explain to consumers and wine lovers why it is important to stop to use chemical products, to use the lunar and the astral calendar in order to reveal the sense of place.
Thank you, Gerard. Second question from Chris McLeod. It's a two-part question. What keeps you motivated to still be in the wine business? And how do you see the future of winemaking in the wine business?
You know, first of all, I have a great team. When I start, we were 3 people. Now we are 350. That means this is not only my experience, but this is important for me to share my passion and to keep the passion, especially to continue to develop projects and also to reveal the south of France experience and to make the link between the wine, the gastronomy, the culture of the region, and art. You know, this is, as I said, this is great to live there, to travel in the world, and to promote the DNA of the region.
So the last question today is from Tom Marcat. How are the tariffs affecting you, and have you increased your prices to offset them?
Yeah, you know, this is not fun, but I will answer this question. And you know, we don't like tariff, and we hope that it will be fixed very soon. But we have taken a strong decision with my team last year to not increase our price. That means we reduce drastically our margin in order to keep the same retail price for consumers and wine lovers. This is an investment for me and for the company, but we were ready to make it because we want to keep the link with you guys.
And Gerard, one last question before we leave everyone today. Can you explain the logo?
Yes, of course. This is a logo. If you want to come with a camera, you know, this is a cross made by the Visigoth, and you can see in the cross you have 2 doves which drink in a cup that symbolize the share, the communion, and the spirit community of the south of France. And then you have Alpha and Omega, which symbolize the beginning at the end of the beginning at the end. And then you have 12 points, which symbolize the 12 months of the year and the 12th sign of the zodiac. I mean, this is a real symbolic cross, and this cross embodies the value of the south of France. And I hope that you will be able to visit us soon, because we cannot wait to host you. Cheers. Thank you again for attending this masterclass. Enjoy the wine. Thank you for promoting the ultimate French wine experience, and see you soon.